Recording on Sunday, July 14th, 2024 at 4:03 p.m. Eastern Time. Jim should be joining us shortly. We have Mr. Dave Collum and Mr. Tom Luongo. Dave had emailed me the other day and was like, let's get the crew back together. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And we were kind of toying around with ideas. And then, this happened and it was like, well, I mean, this is what the next show is going to be anyway, so might as well just do it now. So I don't think it needs to be said. Through the either grace of divine intervention or a shitty outsourced CIA patsy. We're not in a civil war right now, and thus we are also not in a global war where every country would move on their targets. So I have about as much information as everyone else, so I don't think I really have any more authority or information than you guys. So Tom, you got here first, so you get to speak first. What the fuck is going on other than we should all be thanking God?
Yeah, you're whatever to whatever version of the universe you subscribe to. Yesterday's events are bizarre and
Very.
and I will say in the best possible way.
Yeah.
I was just chatting with some of my patrons. We were doing a little bit of theorizing, and we were talking about the potential of that there was a second shooter or something along those lines. And I'm like, oh, I'm like big if, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to make an argument for it. All I'm going to say is let's just give you an idea of how weird this whole thing is. If there was a second shooter, and this was a quote unquote deep state operation to kill Trump, which which is my base case, right? Then the second shooter would have been there as the insurance policy in case the first shot missed. The shot would have rang out, Trump would have froze, and then a really easy follow-up shot to take him out, right? And what happened? He gets grazed and he moves. And then and any follow-up shot would miss and blah, blah, blah. So because the basic argument, that, and from that perspective is, do you trust an operation this important to a 20-year-old kid with an AR-15?
No.
Right. Exactly. And that's the basis for that argument. Again, not saying that that's what I think happened, just putting a scenario out there. Putting it up on the chalkboard. Here are the boundary conditions. There's the problem. Now, do I, my base case scenario being that I think that this was obviously an attempt, somehow an organized attempt to take out Donald Trump. As you and I talked about just before Dave got here, you don't get within 430 feet of a former president and not with a gun and not get ventilated. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. So
what's called a wireless hole punch.
What's that?
A wireless hole punch is what you get dealt with.
Right.
Wireless hole punch.
Exactly. You get to experience lead traveling at a very high velocity.
Right.
And then see what that feels like. So from that perspective, then the first place I went this morning when I was doing my market report for my patrons, so I've already done an hour on this morning privately. I said, it finally hit me. I'm like, why did Joe Biden and why was there the big question for the last couple of weeks is why did the debate happen when it did? Why was it scheduled for this? Why did Trump agree? Why did Biden agree to it? Why did this thing happen? Well, clearly we can see in retrospect because they wanted to get rid of Biden. They wanted to finally show the world Joe Biden is non-compos mentis and they need to get rid of him. And then the operation has been running for 2 weeks straight now. Operation get rid of Joe Biden and replace him with somebody else. And on the eve of and why do that before the convention? Well, because they also need to get rid of Donald Trump at the same time. 6 months ago in my February issue of the newsletter, I took all the zeitgeist at that point in time and I said, you know what? This is feeling like for all the world for me, like they were trying to set up a Hillary versus Haley showdown. And that they were going to get rid of Trump, somehow get him off the thing. And that the only reason Haley stayed in the race till Super Tuesday was to collect some delegates and then be the one who could be anointed at the convention. And the only reason, and I think I saw something from Nick Fuentes, Vivek Ramaswamy, actually, I'll give Vivek credit on this one, said, no, the whole purpose of her staying in the race was because she's waiting for her donors to tell her that, Trump's been killed. And then, she's going to take over as the nominee. He said that back in February as well. So, when you stop to think of it, Trump is going to win this in a walk if it's Trump versus Biden. There's no way that anybody would actually believe that. I just don't buy it. That they can cheat again the same way they did in 2020 and get Biden across the line. So what's the best way of taking care of this and ensuring that they get the outcome that they want? Well, you just give us a non-choice between two unbelievably horrible freaking neoconservatives who are committed to the cause. And then what's that cause? That causes, of course, World War III. And that's Hillary versus Haley, who are in effect indistinguishable. And it's also the most demoralizing thing imaginable, because now you have a president who's been a mushroom sporifying in the White House, and they killed Orange Jesus. Well, Orange Jesus. He has now become Orange Jesus.
Orange
and
Jesus.
That's it. I mean, and that's the scenario. And it's the maximal amount of demoralization. I wrote this in an article, 3,500 word article, talking about it's all about demoralization. We are under a massive demoralization campaign. And
that's authoritarianism.
Yes. At its okay. So that's where my head is on this, guys. I'm not saying I'm right, but it's sure all looks for the world to me. It's like, why did Nikki Haley come out the other day and finally endorse Donald Trump? Why did this occur? Why did this occur at the only Donald Trump rally of 2024 covered live by CNN?
I'll
leave it there. Dave, what do you got?
I think if the deep state wanted him out, they would have got him.
That's also a fair point. I saw your tweet. That's you don't leave it to fucking Greaseball McGee, right? It's a great patsy, but if you're going for it, like you have to ensure it's foolproof.
I mean, a real deep state sniper, which would just be a sniper, can take a guy out from something like 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah,
right.
This was like shooting, and Trump's head, as Jon Stewart described Teddy Kennedy, his head is so big it looks like a box designed to hold his head. I mean, it's so big.
It really does.
And so someone said, well, he's only 2 inches from the center of his brain and from the center of his skull. And I go, to a sniper, that's a humongous distance, I think.
Miles.
The wind was, according to Eric Prinz, the wind was 5 miles per hour, which means first and foremost, not much to account for.
Right.
And so if you wanted to account for it, you'd aim for his right ear. And, there's a famous pair of sniper stories from, I think, World War II, where these two guys were stalking each other. And the winner finally put it right through the eyepiece of the loser. I mean, these guys can do shit that we can't imagine.
Right.
So I think the guy was about as authentic as Stephen Paddock.
Yeah. I mean, play.
And
sorry.
So here are my various concerns. Here's the things that jump out at me. First of all, deep state wouldn't miss. I don't think they would. Second of all, there were too many shots taken before they finally capped the guy. There was something like 42 seconds of the guys with the scopes on the roof watching him. And you can say, well, there's a no first shot rule, but they would have called it in and said, we got a sniper on the roof.
From what I understand, they did.
Well, and then there's the guy who reminds me of Stephen Paddock's brother, talking about how he told Secret Service that told a bunch of people there's a guy on the roof, and no one seemed to be concerned about it. And then you've got the fact that the guy doesn't look like a deep state sniper. He's young.
Patsy.
He looks like a patsy, about as qualified as Oswald. And
Right.
And there's a ladder. One of the pictures shows a ladder leading to the roof. So someone had to see him crawling up the ladder on the roof. Why? If there's a region you couldn't really cover well, you think you might have drones up there, diddling around, watching for stuff. It just, nothing makes sense.
No.
I am not convinced that Trump got hit. He reaches and grabs his ear. What could you do? Well, one of the things you could do is smash some blood-like thing against your ear.
Sure.
Right. So I don't think you even know positively. I mean, if we see a picture of Trump's ear and it's pretty gnarly, then, okay, you win.
I saw a picture of Trump's ear that was that clearly looked like there was a hole in it.
See, I could not see the hole. I could not see the hole.
I saw what's clearly looked like a woman.
Okay. Then that takes that out.
I think, I'll be honest with you, Dave, I think Trump turns his head at the last moment to look up at the Jumbotron, and the shot just missed. And it's like it's just timing. It's just timing. And then he flinches after getting hit, and then it just all goes sideways. Like
Right.
it's again, I'm you know I I'm I don't believe, I don't know what to believe, clearly, and I'm not trying to argue against any one interpretation here, but I just, it just kind of looks like one of those things where they had it lined up, they had the shot, they had a broadside shot of his head, they were going to blow his head off on national television, and then somehow he moves his head at just the last possible moment, and then the whole operation falls apart.
Okay. So the
And
only
maybe you want to call that divine providence, you want to call it whatever you want. I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah, I don't
I'm
either. I don't either.
I'm at the point where the universe is too freaking weird for my taste.
So if he has a real wound in his ear, then he did get shot, and maybe there's snipers who can say, "Look, I'll tell you what, I'll pick off his ear," but I doubt that. That strikes me as risky. And then there's the problem with the DEI run Secret Service.
Oh God, those fucking
Now,
they were so
but
like,
again, it's conceivable that because it's Trump, it's conceivable there's a steady state of chaos. They might have also took all their losers and given to Trump. Screw it, right? I mean, you can imagine a whole bunch of reasonable ways to do that. The pictures of the chicks that I first spotted when Cheryl Atkinson pointed it out, and then she got attacked for being, misogynist. And I wasn't convinced they were acting as irrationally as they appeared, in the sense that under those situations, you'd be whizzing around looking in every direction, and that might be their cue. So there were guys getting Trump in the car, and the chicks were just, they looked like chickens with their heads cut off. But that might be what the outer perimeter of the Trump get them in the car. Maybe what they're supposed to do is look furiously in every imaginable direction. So I think that's a distraction.
Yeah, the idea, I was going to say, the idea that Trump, not as the official candidate yet, has a B team of Secret Service.
It's not shocking.
Not shocking at all.
Especially given RFK doesn't even have a team yet.
But Trump notoriously has top-notch private security.
Right.
I mean, there's a I forgot what book it was, but there's a book I was reading, but it's this guy goes and meets with and this book was written in like 2000s. It's talking about going to meeting at like Trump at one of his casinos in the 90s, and it was this, I can't fucking remember what the book was. I think it was about the NSA. And he's like, as a former military guy, I remember going in like the control room of just one of his casinos, and I was like, this is like mil-spec surveillance. And he was like, I was always respected Donald Trump's military approach, and that was as a casino guy in the 90s. So, so to me, I try to look at, and what Dave you're saying about like outer perimeter. And I also understand, like, man, I have a biology degree. I really got to not armchair quarterback like Secret Service. A lot of special forces guys are, and they can. But so what I'm trying to look at this is like, when we look at, let's just say something like 9/11, we got 23 years between that and now. And you go, the planes hit. Can planes cut through steel? Were they planes? Was they projections? Were they drones? Was there thermite in the elevators? Was it a directed energy weapon?
Right.
All important questions, as all truth needs to be solved. But then you kind of look at the big Project for New American Century a year before. Bush, Cheney, and all that den of demons want to go to the Middle East. And then what is the effect, regardless of how it happened, is we put 500,000 troops and a couple $1 trillion of war material on top of the largest oil reserves in the world in proximity to China and Russia. So just forget everything else. Look at where the big military is moving and where the resources are. Directed energy from orbit, thermite, whatever. Something happened, and then we got something that we wanted and other people wanted. So although it's important, right? Was it a bullet? Was it a CIA guided bullet? Was he a patsy? Was there another sniper that we don't know about that was shot 3 miles out? Who knows? Big things is they want him gone. And I think, Tom, I think your point's genius. I didn't thought about that. As I always thought they're either going to remove Biden or they're going to remove Trump. If you removed both of them with a couple months left, that just the more outright in general, you're like, oh, this is so fucked. I don't even care about. That is a way to completely demoralize everyone. So regardless of like how it happened and whatever happened, it's two primary things. An attempt was made on Trump's life. And why? I mean, why you do not get Lee Harvey Oswald? That was a moving motorcade in the middle of a city with thousands and thousands of windows. This was the president in a field surrounded by buildings. No, the biggest building was a shitty little warehouse, looked like a gym, and he's on top of it. And people, and there's not just the guy with not the guy with the visor saying, "Hey, I was talking about this," because people are going, "Are we going to take his word?" No, now there's video of people pointing and going, "Gun, gun, gun!" And now it's coming out that the cops went up there. He pointed the rifle at him, and the cops went back down. And the ex-president is still talking. There are so many things where you go, that should never in a trillion years.
Yes.
Lou Merletti, the former head of the Secret Service, talks about how they did a red cell thing, which is where we try to penetrate our own systems, of Delta Force getting onto the White House lawn in like the 90s. And they did it out of like a Cessna or something. They all of a sudden they gave the clear and they stood up, and the Secret Service guys were like, "Oh my God." And they saw like 30 thermal images on the White House lawn. They do that to plug that shit up. That's Delta Force in the 90s. They plugged up the whole get on a high point with a sniper rifle a long time ago. So one, regardless of how it happened, why the fuck is that guy there? Period, bar none. Number two, people wanted this, and it was supposed to happen, and it didn't. Now we can get into the whole nitty gritty of what was it? Was it a CIA? Was it a drone? Does this guy even exist? Was he MK? All that is important to find out, in the way that it's important to find out what took down the towers. Big idea. How did those planes, how did they get through $1 trillion defense net? And how did we end up in the Middle East? How did somebody with a gun get on a building next
430
to
feet away from the gun?
And not only that, but you have people screaming gun.
It's even worse than that.
I didn't see that.
It's even worse than that. There's a fucking water tower, and there's not a goddamn Secret Service sniper up on the water tower, the highest point in the area.
Right.
Moreover, why is there a clear shot from that building to Trump? That was supposed to be eliminated.
That shouldn't have been covered. There should have been Secret Service on the roof. There should have been counter snipers, not covering it. They should have been up there and said,
"Yeah, I know. That's the perfect roof, actually, to have counter snipers."
That's where you'd have counter snipers, and this isn't
right.
It's not.
It's all bullshit. And so until they are exonerated, the Secret Service has to be considered complicit in this.
I hope he's fucking talking to Eric Prince. I hope he's got a fucking team.
Eric wrote something this morning. Showed up on Zero Hedge.
I hope he's got some.
I didn't see it. I didn't see what
tier one guys fucking around is.
He basically said it's either malice or grotesque incompetence.
Okay.
It's.
And I'm sorry, but I'm a little beyond gross incompetence at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to picture that.
We're at the point now where you have to assume malice, and then you get to prove to me it was gross incompetence.
Yeah.
And I expect you to prove to me beyond a shadow of a fucking doubt it was gross incompetence. And then if you do that, then everybody gets to be fired, all the way up to Mayorkas, all the way up down, all the way up. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, it was gross incompetence," and then nobody gets fucking fired. Everybody gets to have their
only
have their pension.
Only bankers get that treatment.
Exactly. Only trying. Yeah.
It's
and Ursula von der Leyen.
It's not even like it wasn't even like it was something wild like Shinzo Abe, where the guy has like a steampunk gun, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" Or again, it's 9/11.
Wasn't even weird. Wasn't even clever.
Yeah.
Right.
No. This is so movie reboot. This guy is Lee Harvey Oswald 2.0, like weak chin, fucking greasy spaghetti haired faggot, like up there, wearing a demolition ranch gun, and he's up on again. He's on the. It's not like Trump was in the middle of Los Angeles, and a shot was fired with a depleted uranium shell that wasn't behaving with normal trajectories, and there had been UFO spottings before. You'd be like, "Oh, that's wow." This is so layup.
Yeah.
It's
and
nothing's off the table, including does this help Trump? I'm willing to entertain anything at this point.
It helps Trump.
No, is Trump in on it? I know that's not popular for people that like Trump, but I'm saying
that you'd have to go on the assumption. See, that's why I looked very carefully at the ear, trying to figure out if
everything has. I don't believe it was, but everything for the sake of like intellectual limberness, every idea has to be on the whiteboard right now.
Sure. What I would say is that what bothered me, and then and Dexter White and I were talking about this last night, and I don't know if we can rule it out or not, but let's just throw it out there. Like, dude, had an AR, 140 yards, firing 223. Aside from the fact that 223 at that range is not flat ballistics, and that's for that, and that's to everybody on Twitter who told me to get fucked. It's not flat ballistics, but why would you have an AR under those circumstances? Okay, stole his dad's gun. If you want to believe the idea that he was just some random fucking Antifa jackass that somehow got up on a roof 430 feet away from the goddamn former president, who everybody is worried that he's going to get shot, and then somehow that happens. Like, yeah, okay, fine. This is not in the line of fire, and we're not dealing with John Malkovich and fucking Clint Eastwood at this point. That's not what this is about. No, they went for the whole Megillah. They were going to shoot Trump, use the AR as a way to go for gun control, and these greedy fucking globalist cocksuckers got dumb. Like, hogs get fat and pigs get slaughtered. Like, you dumb. Don't bring the wrong tool to the job. Like, anything else, any other gun. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the AR. Either this kid is a miraculous shot because it's a 135-yard shot with an AR. I'm sorry. That's no bullshit.
Yeah, that's like claiming
you give me with a 3x9 scope and 243 Winchester, and Trump's a dead man.
Yeah,
and I'm not even a good rifle shot.
Yeah. Right. Well, I was talking to some of my buddies because I interviewed Delta Force guys and SF guys. I was just talking to one of my buddies last night who's just a artilleryman, just former combat Marine. Just basically, and I've gone shooting with him. He was like 10 out of 10 times I'd make that shot. And that's from like a basic like infantryman or whatever. Sorry, Don, whatever you are. I don't mean to, the other night I was like, sorry, Don, not all of us get to go shoot artillery in Iraq. And he's like, it was Afghanistan faggot. And I was like,
so did this guy, was this guy actually the guy who shot the gun or not?
Yes, I think he was. I'm not willing to say that there's not
I mean, the other thing is snipers, a real sniper, which if you were deep stating it, wouldn't you put a guy up there you knew could make the shot?
You'd also aim for the spot that didn't matter if he turned or not.
But that's right. A real sniper, they don't miss.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with the story. And a real sniper also doesn't shoot 5 times.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, guys, these are all good questions, Dave. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't either.
This thing there's something about this that completely stinks, and
we don't have whatever it is.
Maybe the calculus was that easiest shot, and even this kid could do it, and call it divine providence, call it whatever you want, but like something happened, and operational failure.
History is also, I mean, who is the Soviet submariner that didn't fire at the end during the Cuban Missile Crisis? I mean, Goering or who the fuck headed up the Luftwaffe who called off the attack, or no, they called off the ground forces circling Dunkirk because they wanted it to be a Luftwaffe victory. Like, the Hitler assassin. Like, this stuff does happen. Like, and not often, but I mean this. Like these once.
Well, it happens all the time in other countries.
Well, what I mean is throughout history is these.
No. But the key is that we're thinking first world, third world. This is happening, a number of times per year. Like, for example, when the 5 guys in Africa said we're not vaccinating, the 5 leaders in Africa, and they all died.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, in terms of like the Providence thing, I mean, is like sometimes like history does just
not go as planned.
Yeah. Right. And I tend to think it's divine. I tend, but I mean, but regardless and if let's say it's not divine, you have a harder time explaining it then is it really? I mean, then man, we really do live in a world of butterfly effects, and whatever that was supposed to happen is, I mean, they went for the king. Like, there aren't going to be. So this is what I was getting at too earlier. And I have to find the silver lining and shit for my own mental health.
Mhm.
You don't do this if the steal in November was guaranteed. Why would you? You would just
Bingo.
do another. You would do
You'd
it.
wait.
You would wait
would
for
just wait.
you wouldn't do a water leakage or COVID. You'd say a Russian cyber attack, which
Let
wouldn't
me
even
back
be a
this out a
yeah.
little bit. Let me back this out a little bit. Just sort of short answer. Is there more method to the madness of the chaos in the Democratic machine, or did they really lose their shit completely and fail? They went for the king too, right?
Right.
And they failed to get him. And the question is, are we being duped by kabuki theater, or did the Democratic Party really go for the hit on Biden and miss him as well? Or are there more layers to that onion?
As the comedian Tim Dillon would always say, he goes, "We're seeing the trust fund kids of the deep state that took out Kennedy. They can't fucking do the job that Grandpa did. They don't have the grit. They're not Carnegie fighting on the docks. They grew up with they had a Bugatti in high school, and they're
Right.
getting sloppy. You know, when you take out Kennedy, Oswald, no. You have 10 snipers. They don't even know. No one even knows who has the bullet. You probably got cartels up there. You got
And you got the
mob. You got
that dropped
Russians.
the bullet on the gurney, and
Exactly. You got
the guys
doctors
in
in the
place to run the
hospital. You
Warren
take the
Commission.
bubble
Yeah.
off the top of the thing. The phone lines go down in DC. You make sure it doesn't. You're not seeing this. You're seeing the trust fund kids you're seeing like the great grandson of like a Rockefeller being like, well, maybe we'll do oil. And John D. Rockefeller would be like, go kill their president, start a war. We're getting a pipeline. Like you are
Right.
seeing sort of rot. And it's a funny answer. I don't think it's entirely untrue.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Sloppy.
It's like one of the arguments that's been made at me for a long time. I would talk about, going back to the talking about like Vladimir Putin. I'm like, Putin's running rings around us, and I've been saying this for years, right? And the response to that was, if Putin had actually had to fight against anybody halfway competent, he might actually have lost a battle or two here or there. I'm like, he's like fighting against he's not just fighting against the C team, he's literally fighting against the trust fund kids, the third generation, the ones who squander all the wealth. And if you're talking about people who are now that
Stupid,
who feel that threatened, when they're that threatened, that's when they make mistakes. Mistakes get made. And like, this could have been a very hastily put together operation. It could easily be one hand, the Obama team doesn't know what the Clinton team's trying to do, or blah, 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 blah. And somebody bribed one of the CIA, one of the Secret Service officers is, look the other way, and somebody else, and it's like, and it's not a real op, but it's an op of some form or another, simply because no fucking way does a kid climb up on a goddamn roof 430 feet from a Donald Trump and not, and without consequence.
And as Tommy said, probably the best place in the whole area to put the counter snipers.
Yeah, right. Everyone's saying, how come they weren't watching that? No, counter snipers.
It's sort of like there was a fire tower right there. A
lot of these things you occupy
a duck blind.
A lot of these spots you put guys up there simply to deny someone going up there.
Right.
You just put a guy up there. You see someone climbing a ladder. You go, "What are you doing, fucker?" Like just that.
Right.
And it's not that they were in Mar-a-Lago and some guy got on top of a Holiday Inn 4.5 miles away, took a pot shot, and it went through the window and hit the ottoman. This is empty field in, Pennsylvania, podunk buttfuckville, and there's like what looks like a prefabricated storage unit, and you climb up there. I mean, this is literally like the shitty part of the video game where you're in the tutorial and you're like in like the kill house, and it's like, all right, shoot the cardboard cutout. Like, this isn't like you're on level 9 expert and you're going for it. You're like, I'm trying to get the highest score. This is literally like, it's play the game Sniper Elite, where you're a World War II sniper. You can put up levels of difficulties where
now
hit markers.
I'm gonna bring in something wacky.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think goes anywhere, but it caught my attention. If you look, I once years ago had a discussion with one of my grad students about QAnon, and I said, I have no idea what QAnon is. I figure QAnon started life as a bunch of intelligence guys who went rogue,
drinking,
and then started spilling their guts and doing what they do. And then it became just a dumping ground for anything that you didn't understand that was on the right side of the center.
Right.
But when I was reading about things like global pedophilia networks and stuff, once in a while I'd run across the QAnon guys. And one of their beliefs is that Trump is the savior. I mean, this just gets so weird that it's just unimaginable. That Trump is the savior and he's about to marshal all the generals and they're about to take back the United States. And it just sounds so bizarre. And when I'm watching a video and that shows up at the end, I go, oh shit, did I just waste an hour and a half watching a video from QAnon? One of their most bizarre theories is that JFK is not dead and that he's going to come riding to the rescue and save the system. JFK Jr. And they've even gone so far, and I've been watching this for a couple of years, and it just was laughable to me. There's this guy who doesn't look like JFK. They say this is JFK with his latex mask on in disguise, blah, blah, blah. And I've been seeing this off and on for years, thinking these guys are just having fun with us now. He was sitting behind Trump.
Yeah.
Unambiguously.
That picture, dude, I saw that last night, and like,
it's not just a picture though, because I checked a bunch of different camera angles that people took of the shooting, and he's in all of them.
yeah, no,
so it didn't get photoshopped, didn't get AI.
No. He's in the video.
He's in the video. Now, Trump, how many speeches a day does Trump give?
But right? I saw this.
Right. That guy right there.
Yeah, that's January 6th.
Right. That's January 6th.
Yeah. Now, maybe this is photoshopped. I might be sharing bullshit. Maybe it's photoshopped.
No, but he was not photoshopped at this event.
No, not yesterday. Not yesterday. I don't know if the J6 one, if that's accurate.
Yeah, right. So then the question is, okay, so who is he, right? I doubt he's JFK.
No.
Could he be a guy who actually is serving some purpose, right? Maybe a personal bodyguard of Trump, and he is just always there. There's a lot of potential explanations. But I thought I had to bring that up because it's one of the funnier oddities that's very difficult to wrap your brain around in this story, because he can't be going to every goddamn Trump rally. The odds that he's at the one where it reminds me, QAnon shaman, right? Antifa guy,
Jake Angeli.
Yeah, Jacob Chansley. He I've got photos of him at January 6th with Ukrainian operatives.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a Twitter Spaces about international pedophile networks, and he came on. I go, what the hell is Jacob Chansley doing on this Twitter Spaces? And he starts walking the walk and talking the talk. He is talking about the international trafficking and all the details. I go, who the hell is Jacob Chansley? Who the hell is this guy? So that guy, you don't want to let him get off your radar screen until someone explains why he was sitting behind Trump.
I will say what you said about you had watched the video and at the end it said QAnon and you waste your time. And this just generally goes for everything. You shouldn't write that. I mean, just because Anthony Fauci says something doesn't mean it's inaccurate. Fauci probably also says take calcium for your bones. So like,
no,
everything you saw was accurate. Don't write it. QAnon. Nothing. I've always said there would truly be nothing funnier in the history of this universe from now until heat death than if QAnon was real. But I mean, it is madness where you start looking and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And the Russians yesterday started writing on their artillery shells like "Stay strong, Donald Trump," and like this is for Trump's ear and like a fist. Like,
that's after or before?
After.
Okay.
You know, but it's like, what the fuck's going on?
Well, but see that could easily be our deep staters who are trying to get us to pissed. Well, it could also be our guys who want to get us revved at the Ruskies and set up a Russian explanation, right?
Fair point.
And so this morning, James Lindsay said people think they can write history in real time, and you can't. It's absolutely true that this shit has to incubate.
Yeah.
Yes. You need time for it to settle in and start making sense, or pieces that just don't fit, saying maybe that's bullshit. You know, it takes a long time. My big fear is that we have no idea what history was in the past either. Right. And that we really are blinder than we ever believed. But now, in defense of the sloppy psyop that you were discussing, I think with the invention of the internet, the whole protocol changed where they used to try to get away with it. Now it's just a total, they just say, look, we're just going to do it. And we're just going to use the internet and the mass media and stuff to do the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm. That's what they do. I agree
Right.
with you on that, Dave, completely. I do that. You know, they're going to just do what they need to do. And again, we are at a moment in time where, and I think we've entered that phase of this operation, or the phase of the breakdown, that the goal here, that they have to go for broke, because the goal has never been clearer than I think what I've been trying to say for years, which is that we have to, the United States is being set up for a color revolution, guys. I've been saying this for years. Okay. Was it my wife watches
How do you do me a favor and define color revolution? Because I always see it in context, but what do you mean exactly by
I was
that?
about to ask.
I mean that I mean
definition.
it's, well, it's the, you know, we use color revolution now because they like orange or brown or green or whatever, but it's this you destabilize over time, you destabilize a country at every level, and then you have those defining moments where you can get the people to rise up and do a thing that they want you to do and overthrow the existing government. And we're all of the elements of it are pretty much there. The only thing we haven't had is the actual revolution itself. And so we're getting very close to that moment, where there's going to be an intelligence operation that's going to explode. You know, when you look at, you know, they laid the groundwork for the Maidan in Ukraine for 20 years before that.
Yeah.
Radicalizing certain parts of the Ukrainian, it takes a long time to set that up, to give the money to right sector, to put them in the right places, to buy the right people, to set up the NGOs, to put to radicalize the kids on the campuses and everything else. It takes a long time to build the milieu, the zeitgeist, to generate the hatred and the division and everything else. And we're right there. We've got two groups of people in the United States right now, neither of whom will believe or accept the outcome of this election. And the best way to assure that outcome is to not have either Joe Biden or Donald Trump as the candidates, because if you want the complete explosion, because then there's the possibility that one side there could actually, the wrong side could win. But if you have Hillary versus Haley or whoever, pick, or, you know, I don't care if it's Gavin Newsom versus,
it's a do-over.
Right. It doesn't matter. And this way, everybody's demoralized. No one is going to look at this election and go, oh my fucking God, you got to be kidding me. Then you sow just enough malice and disinformation into everything. The right gets pissed off because they killed Donald Trump. The left gets pissed off because what happens if Haley were to win? What if it's Hillary versus Haley and Haley wins because she has the Trump sympathy vote? The same way that LBJ got the Kennedy sympathy vote, right? The revolutionary Kennedy, who's then given.
Okay,
who's then
here's the question: you got to choose between Haley and Hillary. Who do you choose?
Gun to my head? I don't.
Gun to your head? No, guns to your head, dude.
Oh, I got to choose. I sadly I have to choose Haley.
Okay.
You know why? Because I think because I believe Hillary Clinton is like the epitome of everything fucking evil. Whereas Haley is a fucking stooge who will do what she is told.
She's a neocon.
But she's a neocon, but you know, that's fine. She's not as high up the fucking ladder.
Right.
I mean, and she's not as, she's almost as ambitious. Right. I mean, gun to my head, I have to pick gun to my head. Yeah, my daughter's life on the line. Hey, I'll choose Nikki Haley over, because there ain't no way I'm choosing Hillary Clinton. I got 40 fucking years that tells me that Hillary Clinton is the worst piece of shit imaginable. So, you know, as my wife put it so eloquently 8 years ago, you know, I've been waiting 25 years to vote against that bitch.
They were supposed to drop Trump yesterday. There was supposed to be a civil war, and then whoever the Republican nominee would have come out and said we need a we need to heal. I'm
Yep.
conceding, or Biden would then be like, we're gonna work together and
Yes.
something, and and you tie in Russia, and you go, we really don't even need this election, and you would have a bunch of Republicans coming out and saying like, now is the time for healing. This like, or and here's another
Dude, it's what
thing.
they did in 2008 with McCain.
Yeah, yeah,
McCain literally handed the election to Barack Obama during the financial crisis.
yeah. What? Here's another
He
thing
fucking
is
stopped campaigning.
we know that we know the power structure just uh, across all things is it's not a monolith. The uniparty is Republican Democrat, but I mean within the Democratic power structure, is that not a monolith? Was this a sub
No.
faction? Was this a sub faction who thought the people in charge weren't going hard enough? Do you have true radicals that were like this? Did you have more? Do you have more measured people in the Democratic power structure who were like, no, 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 this is going to work. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, that, the other thing on the election night. Was this some rambunctious group of true radicals that would eventually end up against the wall? Do you have them going for it? I mean, do you have people in the DNC going like, you fucking idiot, like you weren't supposed to do that, and if you're gonna do it, complete it. Like maybe, I mean, it might be that this was I mean, was it partially foiled? I mean, it was Donald Trump. Was he really? But now let's look at Occam's razor. Like, was it really a security? I mean, did they just like, oh, we're gonna let it happen, or is there something we don't know? Was there another sniper taken out? Was there something? Was 3 out of 4? Are we gonna find out in 50 years 3 other snipers were neutralized? Tom.
I'm actually not going to answer that question because I was just looking something else up just to
Yeah.
confirm. Everybody was out yesterday, happy to see that Donald Trump survived Mike Pence. We all told Pence to go fuck himself. All told Ursula von der Leyen to go fuck herself. Everybody else. You know who hasn't tweeted since July 12th?
Who?
Hillary fucking Clinton. Last tweet from Hillary. It's horrifying to see a leader of a major American party align with foreign autocrats like Viktor Orban. Trump is telling you exactly
I
who
love
he is.
Viktor Orban.
Peace
I
is to
love
give Putin
Viktor
exactly
Orban.
what he wants. Are you on Trump's side or with Orban, Putin, and dictators?
Yeah.
Even Hillary can't bring herself to go to put forth even crocodile fucking tears. Even fucking Pelosi said something.
Yeah, she said, I know political violence.
Yeah, I mean
Your
they're all
husband
on
was
the.
hit with a
I deplore political violence, but only when I order it, or only when I get only when I get caught.
It is,
Fucking cunt.
yeah, it is. There was in no way,
Bill
shape, or
tweeted,
form,
she didn't.
and in no way, shape, or form, what was Trump supposed to survive yesterday? That's what's kind of fucking wild.
Well,
Right?
what if? Okay, so then the question is: let's say there's factions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I can tell, the only losers, guaranteed losers, by Trump getting winged, are Biden, but Team Biden.
Mm-hmm.
So you can argue that the other teams potentially win. Trump certainly. I mean, holy Jesus, did Trump come out ahead on that one?
Of course.
I think Bobby Kennedy gets Secret Service.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Which is not worth anything, obviously.
Right.
So let's say it's factional. Which faction? Do you think maybe Hillary's team just try to take him out?
Just a rage.
Well,
part of a plan.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, Hillary and Haley both track to neoconservatives, which is indistinguishable from the British remnant.
Right.
And they're the ones who most desperately want continued war with Russia. This happens right after the NATO summit. It happens after all of this stuff. What's that?
You get Hillary against Haley, then you're guaranteed to get what you want because they're both from your team. If you get one of them, then you got to beat them.
It's got to be Lincoln Douglas all over again.
Hillary does not want to go against Donald Trump again.
What?
So she had the most to win. She had the most to win.
Yes.
Because Haley wouldn't be guaranteed, I think, to get the nomination.
No.
So,
but but she's the one with delegates going into the convention.
So like a
I'm
couple
not
days
sure that
ago,
matters.
so a couple days
I don't
ago,
know that it matters. I'm just, it doesn't have to be Haley, but she's convenient.
there was a couple days ago, there was a tweet that like Meta had officially removed all restrictions from Trump's Instagram and Facebook accounts and WhatsApp and whatever. And then I had retweeted what somebody said, like, this is odd. This is weird. And then you have you had the same day The Economist comes out and says Trumponomics wouldn't be that bad. And somebody just said, this is very uneasy. Why are these establishment organs all of a sudden holding up on Trump? Which could bring to two possible, a million possible, but just two off the top of my head. Do you pull back knowing an assassination's coming so that in a week you can be like, hey, the establishment was starting to kind of go, hey, Trump's probably going to win. It wasn't us. Or is it, do you have aspects of the big money establishment being like, I mean, at the end of the day, Trump does kind of protect the wallet. So what do I care? And do you have some hyper true believers in the movement going, Facebook's pulling back. The Economist is saying he won't be that bad. This is literally Hitler. Do you have some fuckers that really believed the propaganda and going, the Nazis that are surrendering? Do you have the other Nazis
Yes.
being like, don't you dare surrender?
Yes. It starts and ends with everybody surrounding Barack Hussein Obama. That's Samantha Power, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, blah, 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 blah. We can keep going down the fucking line. All of them. They're all true believers. They're all goddamn communists. And they all map directly. But at the same time, Hillary has a lot to gain. Like this is, I know that there's a lot of domestic stuff that can go on in here as well, and there's a lot of people who don't want to see the gravy train end. They don't want NATO. They don't want the NATO gravy train end. They don't necessarily want us to be involved in a land war with the Russians in Ukraine, but they just want to be able to sell weapons. Like I get that as well.
Let's say they got Trump yesterday.
Sure.
Does that increase or decrease the chance that Biden is the nominee and the winner?
Maybe.
I think they would have run Biden.
Well,
it's gut feeling off the top of my head.
Because at that point, Biden is a known quantity.
It's
literally horrifying in the White House, being fed bullshit flavored ice cream.
It's some level.
He's a known quantity.
Yeah, it's some level of stability in a storm.
What they want is they want continuity of policy.
Yeah.
And they want to demoralize us in every way to ensure that we do not have any hope. This is about destroying what's left of our hope. That we can get out of this and we can save our country or we can save our society or anything else. They're attacking the food supply. They're attacking the infrastructure. They're attacking everything. They just lost Chevron. They just lost the immunity deal. The SEC just got their ass handed to them. Oh God, what's the guy's the SEC case? Now I can't remember his name.
Is this a
blanking on?
Is this a
all of those were Jarkissi, the Jarkissi case, probably even more important than Chevron.
I thought nothing. See, I thought on the one hand, Chevron was most important of anything.
Yeah.
But that what would happen is they would just ignore it anyways.
Yeah, but now with Jarkissi and Chevron together, they can't use Star Chamber administrative courts anymore. They have to take people to court. We can actually go back and through the federal court system, actually challenge all this, and they can ignore it all they want. But good news for you. The two things I credit Trump most for while he was in office was Powell and Sofer at the Federal Reserve and installing a lot of very good lower district court judges that have allowed these cases to filter up. Without that happening, and no, they're not perfect, and yeah, some of them are a bunch of Federalist Society jackasses, and per Robert Barnes and all the rest. I get it, but in the end, they're not. They may be flawed jurists, or they may be, but they're certainly better than anything fucking Obama or Biden were going to put on the table, right? And so, because of that, I think that is we're seeing the dividends of that of those wins today. And it's almost what I believe at this point, the thing that gives us hope. And that's why Trump needed to be taken out. Because the stage is set for all of this stuff to be reversed.
Yeah.
In the first 6 to 9 months of a second season of the Trump show.
I mean, are we just in the fucking timeline where in 50 years we all just look back and go, yeah. I mean, I remember like, growing up in New England and being like a Red Sox fan and watching 2004 when they were down 3-0 and then they won 4 straight and then went on to beat the Cardinals and broke the curse of the Bambino. And I just remember people saying, it's almost, if this was like a movie, you'd be like, this is so gay. Because it was so fantastical. Like they come down 3-0, you win 4 straight, and then you go, you break the 86-year. And it was just, but it happened. And like sometimes shit just does. And is it God? Is it the universe? Is it is there some quantum mechanics shit we don't know? Is like the overall will and desire of the most number of people, the double slit experiment? I mean, is there true desire for a better world? Tom, you once said in one of our shows, you said QAnon is the collective unconscious that we all know and wish that the world could be better.
So I think what you're potentially confusing is what appears to be a proximate trigger from a cause. So, for example, George Floyd, right? There are people who think George Floyd transformed the world. George Floyd was just one of many victims who happened to be.
Gas.
That's right. He was the one.
Yeah.
He was the one going down for the count at the moment that society was ready to lose their shit.
Yeah.
And it certainly it didn't hurt the fact that he was such a wonderful human being with such great upstanding credentials, but besides that,
no, you're right, Dave. You're right.
Yeah, no,
that,
it was.
That's what the fourth turning's about. Is that they say, look, it's not that bad things don't happen during all the turnings. It's that during the fourth turning, society goes
pressure. Gavril Princip was not he's the most influential man. He was a gunman in a pressurized. He was a spark near a gas leak.
So the fourth turning again. You look at Ukraine or something. Shit like that happens all the time, but in a fourth turning, it somehow gets parlayed into a catastrophe because of the response. The reality that troubles me most, I think, is using an analogy to previous bad moments in history. The one that haunts me the most actually is the Cultural Revolution in China. Mm-hmm. So this is where when you look at the young, ultra-left, unworldly guys who blindly support Team A or Team B without knowing where they are on a map and things like that. That's sort of what the Cultural Revolution in China was. They got basically the young Chinese militants to destroy their parents, destroy the older generation, and that's why we should not lose sight of the role of things like the Palestine-Israel battles. Not so much about Palestine versus Israel, but about how the college campuses are filled with pro-Palestine, while at the same time there's certainly plenty of Jews on campuses too. So, but they tend to work differently. The pro-Palestinian crowd, I think the Jews know why they're being Jews. I think the pro-Palestinian crowd has no idea why they're pro-Palestinian. I think there's a different level of awareness on those two groups. But the fight is on now. Right, the fight is on, and if I, for example, come out and say I'm pro-Palestine or I'm pro-Israel or whatever, the fight is on. I'm in the middle of it. The second I say something like that,
right? Yep.
And Musk comes out yesterday,
and I was going to say, and it's the purposeful radicalization of people that is part of the color revolutionary thing.
That's right.
You take people who are feeling the anxiety and feeling things slipping away and feeling the attack on, and it's, and look, they're attacking the middle class, dude. This is not hard. These are
we can't even agree on facts. So the reason the 3 or 4 of us, Jim, bailing on us, it works because we generally agree on the facts. There's facts we don't agree on, but they're not the kind of facts where we say, look, there's climate change, or no, there's no climate change. Those are not the kind of facts we disagree on.
Right.
And so So you can't have a rational conversation with the other team now.
No.
And that
Okay.
is what I think what the purpose of cancel culture was, which was not a grassroots movement, in my opinion. It was a very well orchestrated thing. And even though it seems to have died down, the fear of getting canceled has not gone away.
Right.
And so it has imposed a censorship on everyone because they don't want to be the person on the receiving end of that gnarly mess.
Agreed. Yeah, no, we can't, when you've got people to gaslit to the point where they deny reality, you know, and
that's what they did in Russia. That's what they did in Russia. They said, like, what's that? Live not by lies is about when you stop telling your children the truth for fear they will blurt it out.
Right. Yep. But at the same time, we all have to remind ourselves, and I will, again, as always, because I'm going to need to go in a couple minutes. That you know, that reality is that which, when we stop believing in it, doesn't go away.
Right.
This is the most important thing for all of us to remind everybody of. Like, look, I understand. And you can actually, and the best you can do is to try and approach this with people. It's like, look, it doesn't matter whether you believe Trump is Hitler or what you're worried about and what your fears are. Those are there, but they're not necessarily reality. The reality around you is that we're sitting here having a conversation and we disagree on things, and we should be able to disagree about them like civil human beings and still see other value in each other. We're not all one thing or one other thing. This is another thing that's been starting to bother me recently as part of the process. When you deal with people who are only dealing in absolutes or only dealing in black and whites, you're dealing with people who are only engaging one half of their brain. Ian McGilchrist would call it the left half of the brain versus the right half. Pick your metaphor here. It doesn't really matter. What's important is that all they're thinking of, all that exists for them, is their threat assessment tool. Whatever that is, the thing it's the reticle, the targeting reticle. That's what scares me. That's all I care about. And fuck everything else. And fuck everyone and run, in effect. And like that's what we have to somehow get past. If we can't get past that with individuals, then we have to see it for what it is. Don't engage directly because you're talking to a brick wall, and move on and try and find some other person or organization or whatever, and continue to try and keep the bonds of society and the bonds of communication open as much as humanly possible.
Right.
Until they come around. And then when they come around, you say, you welcome back into the fold. And you go, okay.
The fourth turning logic suggests that you don't actually back out, which is sort of what that sounds like, whereas you actually end up pushing through. And so
no, we're going to push through. We're absolutely, you push through and you stick to your guns and you say, this is reality.
And we're going to make all the mistakes. We're not going to all of a sudden see it.
Right.
We're going to make the mistakes. We're going to create the catastrophes.
Yes.
We are going to sign off on bombing Russia. We're going to sign off on, firing people for not using the right pronouns or not supporting the vaccine or whatever.
Right.
And we're going to sign off on using the court system to remove a presidential candidate from the race.
That's right.
It's amazing to me that someone could actually feel so strongly about this election that they support that. It just is beyond my imagination.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
It's like, Dave, you're right. It reminds me of something I heard. I can't remember where I heard it, but somebody said you're going to look back and you're going to find a mask in a coat pocket 15 years from now, and you're going to go, "Wow, that was a weird fucking time," now wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
It was a joke. I can't. Somebody mentioned it, and so I can't remember where.
I think it was Tim Dillon. Actually,
was that?
I think it was the comedian Tim Dillon. He has a bit about you can go.
Yeah, maybe. But I've also heard it like maybe on podcasts. But it's a simple. It's an idea that's been propagated and
we've got COVID tests in our closet. I look at them and I go, what are you doing? Right.
I mean, it's funny. Like last week, my wife and I started cleaning out our storage building that I built ages ago, and I've labeled it. I started calling it the monument to all of our bad decisions.
Right.
Because it's the place that we just stuffed all of the mistakes that we've made. Right. And there's a big friggin' room full of this stuff. And we're like, oh, we have to clean this thing out. well, come on, order in the dumpster. Let's clean this fucking thing out. Let's get, and then go, yeah, what the fuck were we thinking here?
What were we
What were we
doing?
thinking? Oh my God, and it is what it is. And it was, and eventually you have to face all of those things, and then move forward.
But then there's the harsh reality that the other thing that's been bugging the crap out of me is that we've been living in a utopian society where while all around I was watching a sci-fi movie the other night, and the comets were pulverizing, some comet entered the Earth's atmosphere and was pulverizing the crap out of everybody. And I was looking at this going, this is what Ukraine and Gaza look like right now.
Yep.
And I realized that we have been living in such an isolated world where even these gigantic wars of the 20th century were way over on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And we lost relatives, but for us, we lost great grandfathers, or we did not lose.
Yeah.
There's nothing tangible. There's nothing. If you go to Bristol, England, you can still see remains from World War II.
Yeah, there's bombed out buildings and shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I worry that the fact that we've gone so long without really suffering, without wondering if we're going to get to eat, without wondering if we're going to, that it's conceivable that is now what is coming because we've gone so long without the experience.
I'm reading this. Sorry, Tom.
Go ahead, Tommy.
I was gonna say I've been reading this book right now. The End of the World is Just Beginning by Peter Zeihan.
I find him to be factually interesting and a hoser. I have a mixed emotion about him.
I'm indifferent. I just chose the book and I'm fucking with it. But
I'm reading Scott Horton's book enough already, and it's overwhelming but pretty good.
But the point is, and I know you got to run, Tom. But the point is he talks about like 45. He really puts into words what we all feel and know abstractly. 1945 till now, like, hey man, we've been living in this like bubble on a unicorn under a rainbow. Like, this is not the norm. And I was gonna say, odd about yesterday.
In that respect, yeah.
Wasn't yesterday
life is a struggle under normal conditions.
Wasn't yesterday Caesar's birthday? That's kind of fucking weird. And then today, dude,
today's Bastille Day, guys.
And Trump went out golfing at 9 a.m.
This morning?
What a Chad.
Yeah, he went out golfing this morning.
Animal.
Yeah.
Well,
that man deserves to be king of the country.
Right. But he also, it's sort of like, when Martin Luther King got shot, the first thing Jesse Jackson did, who was sitting right there, is reach down, put his hands down on Martin Luther King and rub blood all over himself.
I know.
So Trump sees this opportunity, and you got a sore ear, but you go, but
sure. No, he's a gay. He's a showman.
Oh no, dude. Of course. His response to stand up and put his fist up in the air and go, he knew exactly.
He's an adamant. Yeah, he runs.
He collected himself before he stood up.
He stood up and said, "This is $1 trillion of PR
it's
right
those
here."
images that look too good to me is the problem.
Fair.
That's why I went looking for the what am I missing here part of the story, because those images were so perfect. It's like when they restaged Iwo Jima flag, when they restaged the guy kissing the woman in Times Square,
right.
On Armistice,
be critical.
I just went looking for that. It's too perfect.
But it's funny, Dave. I agree. I hear exactly what you're saying, and I really do. But Trump is a master of media. There's not a person on this planet who doesn't understand his role and how to use media. He knows that that's why he's Donald Trump. And so
the other thing is, how do you explain...
he's going to go, here's my opportunity to grab every black male in the country. They're all going to vote for me. This is how I'm going to win Pennsylvania.
50 Cent went out last night,
and I'll give Trump credit enough to know that if he is exactly what he says he is at this point, which is that, their target is you and I'm just in the way, and he really is that guy, then you say, okay, then
right.
He's going to in that moment go, yeah, we're doing this. Wait. Fight.
I wonder if he wasn't even totally convinced until yesterday. I mean, there might have been a moment where he was on the ground where he was just like, this is so much better than living on a yacht getting old. There had to be a moment where he's
Well,
like,
that's
let's
him
ride this
weaponizing.
fucking bitch.
That's him weaponizing narcissism, right?
Sure.
Sure.
He has
Oh, yeah.
weaponized narcissism.
Oh,
He
yeah.
has figured out. He has figured
no,
out
I-
that
you
putting
know,
his
We've talked
name
about
on
this
buildings
before.
is nothing.
It's-
Yeah.
Take your flaws and turn them into strengths and then do something with them.
Yeah, I don't care what the
Right.
logic is. He's like, I want to go down as the greatest ever. And it's like, whatever, that results in a bigger paycheck for me. What the
So
fuck
how
do
do
I
you
care?
explain? How do you explain?
We have to give Tom an out. He has
But two things. One
okay.
is
I'm just giving you an out.
Sure.
one is that when Biden did so poorly, it is stunning to be watching the people who supported Biden the whole way, and then all of a sudden, I can't explain how they could just change gears so quickly and say it's clear he's got to go now. And I'm going,
Because
we've been telling
Langley
you this
sent
for
out
4
an
years.
email.
But also, how do you explain the guys who post shooting could not resist saying nasty fucking things when the message should be to your brain? Let's say I hated Trump. The message to my brain should be, now is the time to shut the fuck up, Dave.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Hey man, and I love this. I always have to go for a science approach, but I mean, dude, it's spiritual, man. There are people. Look at the fucking TikTok kids screaming. Yes, they literally all have the physiognomy of like hook nose grinning scream, dude. This is demonic shit, man. You have them. They're like when I see Biden, I feel bad because I see my late grandmother. I see someone who should be surrounded by family. And I don't like Joe Biden and I don't like what he's doing with this country. But at a certain level, there's still part of me that goes, be your brother's keeper, love each other as I have loved you. You see people who Trump gets shot in the ear and they're going like, oh, it was almost so good. Like, dude, start
There's something
believing,
wrong with
man.
you.
These are
Yeah.
demons
But
licking
even
their
if you're
claws.
thinking that, I'm wondering why your internal filter didn't just say, okay, zip it, right?
Because
You remember my
no,
personal gag order.
they don't have an
Hamas
internal
attacks
filter.
Israel. My internal gag order said, don't say a word.
Yeah. But
And
even last
where
night,
was that gag order? Now it's like, it's time to zip it. It's time to go have, it's time to go have a beer, close up your computer. Because if I type something, I will regret it. You should
Sure.
know
Yep.
that.
It's duper's delight, man. It's that phenomenon where
The
people
duper's delight.
where they
What a great
smile when
concept.
they get away with it. They go,
Bill Gates.
you see it, you see it all the time. Where whoever the fuck who's the politician, their famous picture of him smiling where he's like doing that. It's a phenomenon. It's literally it's a phenomenon called duper's delight. It's a dump of dopamine when you've gotten away with something. You can't help but smile. It's reflexive. It's like a hiccup or a burp. So you're saying where's their internal filter? This is duper's delight. They're demons licking their fucking I don't mean to sound like Alex Jones, like Joe, they're literally demons. They are vampire potbelly goblins from another dimension. But I mean, at a certain point, man, you're looking
You're
at this.
pretty good at that. You're pretty good at that.
I got to meet him.
Do the gay frog one now.
Listen, Joe, they've been putting atrazine in the water. I don't care what they say. You can call me a psychopath. Hillary Clinton is a goddamn demon, Joe. No, you see them, dude, and they're you see these fucking dude. Okay, I'll just show what I fucking screen recorded it yesterday because I couldn't stop staring at the fucking image of the way they were just foaming at the mouths, and there is.
Do they blow Biden out of there once and for all now? They've missed Trump. Do they now have to get Biden out of there? Does that increase the amplitude?
So here's
I think they take another shot at him.
Here's a 7-second clip. One of them's a kid lighting a candle saying John Wilkes Booth, if you're listening. And the other one it's a girl talking to the dead shooter saying, like, listen up, fuckface.
We can't hear it.
Oh, you can't? All right. Well, then the microphones.
Doesn't, yeah, it's
Whatever. Whatever. It's, dude, but you have these, it's their duper's delight. They're going like, oh, it could have been. Call whatever the fuck you want, man.
Contender.
Yeah,
no.
dude, they're fucking licking their lips and they're going. I mean, dude, you had Dr. Malone. To his credit, Dr. Malone's been going to war with them last night on Twitter. You have all these professors being like, today could have been a great day. And he's screenshotting and posting it and like tagging their institute, or maybe someone else is tagging institutions. But dude, you have these people, like these professors being like, oh, today could have been such a sweet day. I think it's reflexive. I really do. I think they're not doing this to be edgy. Because a lot of them have now deleted their.
So I tell you exactly the professor thing. The professor thing is you're in a university It's a total bubble. It's a total echo chamber. And so these guys do not realize how bad, they don't realize how bad universities look right now. They don't understand any of that. And they think that what they say matters. The only difference between them and Hollywood elite is that the professors on average probably are carrying higher IQs.
Yeah.
No, this is on the way out the door, because I am gonna bolt. It's like these people are lost, and
the true believer, Eric Hoffer, true believer,
only
Eric
when
Hoffer.
they are forced to actually look at themselves, and they will,
Right.
they'll go, oh my, and everybody's gonna look at them and go, yeah, that was who you were, and you know, now you're gonna live with that, and you know, it at some point. It's you know, the universe is going to give them what they deserve in some way, manner, or shape. We always get exactly what we have sown. At the end of the day, we are the sum totals of all of the decisions we've made in our lives, good, bad, or indifferent. And this is going to eventually, they feel good about it now. It makes them feel good. They get it out of their system and they're like, oh yeah, no.
Harry
They will either sink into depravity further and then eventually die off physically, spiritually, emotionally, however, or they will pick themselves up, and then hopefully somebody will be there to help them pick themselves up. But we're not getting out of this without going through every fucking bad thing imaginable. I've been warning this. I've been saying there's no path out of this. The other side of it is not terrible, but I got news for you. The only way out is through, and it's going to suck.
Yep.
As a valley of death.
Yep. We're going through it. And
and there it is.
Yeah, most of us from
so y'all keep talking.
No. We're gonna wrap it up. Tom, Stephen Murray, Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Murray just texted me and said, tell Luongo I said hello.
Yeah, no, I
awesome.
Tell Steve that I'm gonna try and get on. I told him, we need to do a show, but I want to wait a couple of days to have a conversation with him about these things. Like I want 3 or 4 days for the for things to percolate.
Yeah.
So
and he and I were just chatting the other day about it. He's like, we're both going hard. He was like, we're gonna talk on Friday. He's like, let's take an easy weekend. I was like, I agree. Fucking motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I mean, actually, Tommy, if you want this, I can make this easy. If you want, since he crashed my last time I was on with Mike Ferris, my show, like I can crash your show, and the 3 of us can do a stream on
Friday.
Let's
do it. Yeah, I'll text him.
Wait, what do you mean he crashed Ferris's show? He came in as
so I was supposed to do a thing with it was supposed to be me and Mike Ferris on Coffee and a Mic, and then I pop in and Steve and Lieutenant, and Steve Murray's there as well, and he's like, Mike invited him in without like 5 minutes warning. I'm like, no problem, because okay if Steve Murray comes, I'm like, fuck yeah, that guy's awesome, let's do it. And then we had like the best 2.5 hour chat ever.
So, actually, I enjoyed the threesome foursomes more than the twosomes.
It depends on the people. Present company, I adore them. It depends.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. These are really the only big shows I do. Other than that, I really very rarely do I want more than one guest. But Tom, we'll let you guys. Dave and I wrap this up. Jim, I don't know.
Go back.
Good seeing you as always.
I don't know.
Wife and all of that.
And we haven't roasted Jim for not being here, and that's not fair because Dave got roasted when he wasn't here. So Jim, I don't know where you are. I'd imagine you're rapidly disassembling a service rifle and burning off your fingerprints because where are you, Jim? Where are you? Were you on top of a roof?
Oh,
were you on top of a roof?
There's something going on between Jim and the chicken.
Watching Jim transform from being a guy who hates conspiracies to a guy who now realizes they're all true.
Exactly.
They're all true has been quite an experience.
I don't know what, and it's gross that he took a shot at the president yesterday. Jim, shame on you.
I know.
All right, gentlemen. Love you guys. Guys, stay safe.
Take care, Tommy. Take care, Dave.
Love each other.